ask you to do, but raise your hands, and you're going to have to raise them really high because I can hardly see you. Raise your hands if you've ever dreamt about being an astronaut or working for NASA. Oh my goodness, that's almost all of you. Well, this dream is a reality for thousands of high school students, some middle school students, and their teachers who are working on a NASA program called HUNCH. HUNCH stands for, whoops, I forgot to do this. Oh, I forgot the first slide. HUNCH stands for High School Students United with NASA to Create Hardware. And it all began in 2003 when Stacy Hill, a NASA engineer working at Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, was tasked with finding a cost-effective way to build training hardware for the astronauts. And Stacy came up with this concept that maybe, just maybe, on a hunch, high school students could build this training hardware for NASA. And it would be cost-effective because NASA would supply the raw materials, the blueprints, even NASA engineers as mentors, but the schools would supply a safe working environment for the students. 12 years later, there it is, there are over 50 schools in 24 states with 6 NASA facilities working on the HUNCH program. Not only did the HUNCH program expand geographically, but it also expanded in scope. No longer were students building only training hardware. Now they are building flight hardware, and they have already sent over 150 items to the International Space Station, or ISS. I have a video clip of made by Cy Woods High School, the video production class, and it's of an interview of one of the HUNCH students who's been working for us for 2 years in the machine shop at that school. So let's see.
Every child dreams of being a part of the space program, and now, thanks to the HUNCH program, that dream is a reality.
One of the best things you could ever do. I'm getting experience that college students don't even have. I know how to use Mastercam, I get to work on industrial machines, and I get to talk with engineers and people who actually work in the field. So I'm prepared, and this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
HUNCH is a win-win situation for both NASA and for the students, and I hope they both gain the same amount of benefits from it. But I made up an acronym for the benefits, and I call them the gifts of the HUNCH program to my students. And the acronym is CREATE. So the C stands for creative thinking. When you're building something for NASA, there is always going to be issues, one issue right after the other. And you have to think creatively to solve that issue. You cannot go to the back of the book. You cannot ask your teacher. You cannot even Google it to find an answer. So the C is for creative thinking. The R is for resiliency. And this is a really important aspect when you're working on one issue after another and it doesn't come out right. You have to try and try and try again. And I actually just got a card from one of the students, a thank you card, And she mentions about resiliency, so I'm going to read that to you. You have inspired me to keep trying and never give up, no matter how crazy my ideal is. And I thought that's a really good saying. NASA has a saying too. Failure is not an option. So if you make a mistake, you consider it a learning opportunity. And you try and try again until you succeed. And that's real important, resiliency. The E is for, you have to forgive me on this one, self-esteem. So it's the esteem part. But to me, that's the most essential gift you can give a student. There's a lot of ways to improve a person's self-esteem, but I feel one of the best ways is to improve it by doing something for others. And doing something for NASA, that like triples your self-esteem. So the E is for self-esteem. The A is for applying your knowledge. Now that is a standard in every curriculum I know, to apply your knowledge to a real-world situation. And when you're doing a HUNCH project, you are applying science, technology, engineering, and math, and you integrate all that with a lot of other important subjects you study in school, like English, communication, writing, marketing. It's all integrated together, and that becomes very, very important. Let's see, that's the A. The T. The T is the hardest, most challenging thing for students to learn. And the T stands for teamwork. And the reason it's so challenging is because every student comes into a project with their own very strong opinions. And they have to learn to compromise and cooperate with the other team members if that project is going to be a success. And the final E, again, is for high expectations. So essential that when you have high expectations, it's incredible. The students go above them. And for them to really get excited about something, they have to do something that's really challenging. If it's not really challenging, well, then they knew they did it. But boy, do the HUNCH project ask for really challenging projects from them. So that's the acronym. And those skills that the students learn, it's not just for a career in science or engineering. It's across the field. No matter what 21st century skill they're going to be learning, that is really a great experience for them. So now I'm going to tell you about some of the things that NASA benefits from them. And it's incredible. Let's see, we'll start off with some soft goods. So soft goods, and here it is. I'm not supposed to get off the red spot, but here it is. This is a cargo transfer bag. And students in family and consumer science classes built this. NASA provides them, it's got a lot of Velcro, so you gotta watch out. NASA provides them with the material, the patterns, even soft goods engineers to help them. And even they put commercial sewing machines in their classrooms so that the students can build these soft goods that are actually both for training and flight. This one says it's for the crew training right on it. Put that back. The astronauts have been so impressed with the soft goods, the things that the students have built that require sewing, that they asked the students to build them what's called a crew quarter organizer. So a crew quarter organizer, crew quarters is where the astronauts sleep on the International Space Station, and they wanted to better organize their personal items. And this is actually really important because if it's not real organized, it could just float away, and that would be a problem. So I have a very short video clip of an astronaut up on the ISS thanking the students who built these crew quarter organizers, and at the end he can't resist but take them to the cupola, which is like a big window on the ISS, and he shows them the sun rising over the Earth from space.
Hey everybody, welcome to the International Space Station. I am NASA astronaut Reed Wiseman, and I'm going to try to show you a very quick tour of our crew quarters organizer that you have so graciously made for us. Now the space that we're going to go into is very small. It's my bedroom, and here is the organizer in its deployed location. Alright guys, thanks for everything. Great working with you, and best of luck in the future.
Okay, so the rest of the items that I'm going to show you are actually made by students in this Denver area. And I've only brought in a few of the items. If I brought everything, which believe me, I wanted to, it would fill up this whole stage. So the first item, and it's a little heavy, so I can't pick it up, but it's right over here. It is a single stowage locker. It's got a purple, can you guys see that? It's got a purple top. It is made by Warren Tech Career and Technical High School in Lakewood, Colorado. And it is truly a masterpiece of precision machining. It also was entered into an art exhibit. So the next thing I want to show you, I can pick up, is a standard utility panel that Warren Tech students also built. They were fortunate enough to be able to go to Johnson Space Center and hand over this hardware to the NASA engineers that will be using it to train the astronauts. Put that down. The rest of the items are experiments. Now, these experiments are proposed to go to the International Space Station, but first they have to be tested in a microgravity environment. And so the students are treated to participate in what we call Flight Week at Ellington Field, which is outside of Johnson Space Center, and they get to fly on NASA's Weightless Wonder. And NASA's Weightless Wonder flies parabolas, so they go like this. And when it's right up at the top, there's about 23 seconds of simulated microgravity. And this will be the last year that they get to fly on a microgravity plane, but their experiments are still proposed to go to the International Space Station if deemed of significant value to space exploration. And I do have a very short clip of their visit at Ellington Field this past April. So let's see how that works. Whoa, went right by it. Went right by it. There it is. That's the plane. Come on, video. It's not, no, that's not the right one yet. I can't get it to go. I'm terrible with electronics. It's a user fault. That's what my son's going to say. Oh my goodness, so you're going to miss the clip. Sorry about that. But they actually float in microgravity. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. More people have climbed Mount Everest than have flown in a microgravity environment. All right, so let's look at these next experiments. And I'm going to start with Overland High School's experiment. And I'll pick it up so it can be in the red circle. And this is called, Overland High School, by the way, is in the Cherry Creek School District. So this is called Destination Pollination, and it is a study of the orientation of houseflies in microgravity. And it flew on that plane. You would have seen that if the video worked. I have another experiment here by Eagle Crest. And Eagle Crest is also in Cherry Creek School District. And they made an experiment called the electrolysis of silver nitrate in microgravity. I have two very similar looking experiments, and these are personal-sized carbon dioxide scrubbers, and they were made by Warren Tech students this year. Now I have one more experiment, and I have to be really careful with this because if the rubber band breaks, it's going to fall apart, I'm told. But this experiment just came back from being on the International Space Station. And it is made by Lakewood HUNCH team and in Lakewood, Colorado. And it's called hydrofuge. You can't really see in it, but it's a plant growth chamber. And I sure hope that you can watch this video of past and present students that went to the launch of the hydrofuge experiment in Cape Canaveral on SpaceX 6.
Go for initiate terminal count.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We have liftoff of the Falcon 9. Falcon 9 is clear to tower.
What we've been waiting for. It was just amazing to finally see it and see it in person. It's great.
And I mean, the minute you see that smoke just billow, you know it's for real. And it's like, I have something that's been in space. Like, how many people can say that?
Check into play confirmed.
So now I am very, very proud to announce that for this year, the experiment selected out of 15 experiments that flew in that microgravity plane this year is from Eagle Crest High School. It's this one, the electrolysis of silver nitrate in a microgravity environment. And that will be funded to go to the ISS by the Center of Advancement of Science and Space for short cases, and in collaboration with NanoRacks. It goes up in a small cylinder like this. That is a nanolab made by NanoRacks. And I do have one last picture. In March of this year, U.S. Representative Mike Kaufman visited the Eagle Crest HUNCH team to find out more about the HUNCH team. So, what is HUNCH about? It's about students. Students creating, designing, and producing real-world valued products for NASA. And in return, students develop 21st century skills and a relationship with NASA that could launch their dreams. Thank you all.